Hi guys, and welcome to my review of the HiSenior T2 Classic. Um, HiSenior is a brand that has been around already for a while, for about 7 years, and they've always been very much focused on a specific crowd of people, which is, excuse me, people that are wanting a neutral sounding IEM for monitoring purposes, for stage, for musicians, studios, and so on and so forth. So they've got very well defined what is the market that they want to hit. Let's put it that way, and they are known for being excellent in that aspect. In terms of the quality of the product, they the resin shells are absolutely unbelievable. You can custom make them as well to your needs, so custom IEMs, and on top of that, they still offer well, what is maybe not very usual as well in this market, which is a 2-year warranty. They offer a 30-day perfect fit guarantee. So in the case you make a custom IEM, they will give you 30 days to return it if something is not 100%. And on the custom IEMs as well, they work very closely with the person to like do a one-to-one kind of a real tuning adjustment and everything. So overall, they're very professional. They offer a very high quality product with quality, hardware, Sonian and Knowles and so on and so forth. And they believe that all this doesn't have to be offered at absurd prices, and so their prices are very competitive when you actually compare with the market and what is available. They basically they have two lines, which is the custom line, which are all the CIMs, and then the universal line, which the T2 is part of it. This is their we could consider this their entry level. They've got a few other models, the FE3, which is a 3BA. They've got the FE6 6BA, FE8 8BA, and they've got sorry, a what they call the Mega 5 EST, which is a tribrid, so DD, BA, and EST. This is actually the first product I'm trying from them, and I have to say I bought this on a special discount promotion that they had a couple of weeks ago, and I have to say that I was quite impressed. I knew going into this review that this was going to be a neutral sounding IEM. Obviously, if its purpose or its focus is for monitoring, then that's what it's going to be. It's not going to be a Harman tuned IEM or a V-shaped kind of signature or anything. But what I can tell you is that although they are not supposed to be fun, let's put it that way, they are fun because the way that they present their neutrality is actually very, very satisfying. And for the purpose of comparisons, I tried to choose obviously IEMs which would have a similar tuning to this, and it wasn't easy. Let me tell you that it wasn't easy. I've actually only got two that I was able to find. Although one is not a neutral tuning, but I decided to add it just for the sake of giving them a better perception or a better feel for what the T2 Classic is about. Anyway, resin shell fits flawlessly in my ears. I mean, the way that it fits and the isolation that it provides are top marks. I've got absolutely nothing to say about that. They're light. They use two BAs, a 22.955 and a 29.689. So two very, let's put, common BA units. Nothing fancy, nothing custom made. But what is done and what is obtained with the tuning that they've done is pretty special. You can see that the sound engineers at HiSenior do know what they're doing. This is the stock cable, so it brings an amazing cable. And if you consider that this is $119, and I bought it, like I said, on a promo for $99. If you consider that this is the cable that it brings, it puts to shame a few other offerings which are sometimes out there, which you question, or why have such a nice IEM and then you offer it with such a basic simple cable. Well, if HiSenior can do it, I'm sure other brands can do it. So nice cable. It does no tangling, nothing. I mean, it's really nice. Honestly, very nice, I have to say. What have I got here for us to compare or to base the T2 with? Well, to start with, in terms of listening, I did my listening with this baby here, the M15. I'll be doing a review soon on it. I'm just waiting on one more dongle DAP amp to arrive so that I can then complete the review, but I will be doing the review on this soon. And I did it with my Frankenstein, like I like calling it, which is my topping NX7 with my Acme working as a DAC. This is the version that uses the AKM DACs, not the ESS. So I did all the listening mainly with that. Okay. Straight away, let me say that in terms of powering it, it's very easy. It's very, you can drive it with basically anything. Although, as is many times the case, of course, if you choose a proper power source, it just cleans up everything. And I did find that although it didn't need all the power the NX7 has, for example, the T2 does benefit from having a nice amount of let's say guts behind it. The nice thing about the topping is it's very clean. I like the way that it's super clinical. So it actually complements very well the nice or the focus of the signature here of the T2. The Acme does have a tendency to be a little bit warmer, but I didn't find that the warmness that it adds to the signature spoils its neutrality. I find both the Acme and the topping actually make a very nice combination. Sometimes I also use the Creative SFXI as the DAC, and that also makes a super nice combination. The only reason why I'm using actually more the Acme than the Creative is that this has a little bit of a higher voltage output, so I can drive the topping without having to put the gain up so much better. So yeah, basically I think I've kind of set the stage in terms of what the T2 is hardware wise. Fits perfectly, isolates nicely, well built, not heavy, so therefore non-fatiguing. Perfect. In terms of sound signature and what is it all about? Like I said from the beginning, it's not supposed to be a fun IEM. It's supposed to be a monitoring IEM designed for professionals that want to use it for monitoring purposes, be it a musician or whatever. Okay, and yes, it's a neutral, signature. It can be at times a little bit dry. It can be at times a little bit too excessively clinical. But that's what it is. That's what it's supposed to be. It's super flat. I mean, if there is a 5 dB pinna gain, that's already too much, and having that kind of a pinna gain, then what does it translate to? It translates to a super flat and laid back and very natural vocal presentation. Both male and female vocals are very good, although the female vocals can on occasion sound a little bit dark. Okay, why? They can sound a little bit dark because although there's a decent extension, there isn't an extension to the point where you actually find that treble air. Let's put it that way. So it's a vocal centric IEM. That's the main focus of its presentation. It's got good extension on both ends, so it's got nice clean punchy bass and enough suffice treble that is very smooth, very laid back, non-sibilant, non-aggressive, non-harsh. Okay, but yes, with certain music and with certain genres, you will see that there is a lack of that extreme. So that ultimate bass rumble is lacking, and that ultimate treble air is lacking, which will then complement specific genres better, and especially, like I say, certain female vocals. Okay, as for the bass, it's tight, super controlled. I mean, it's got that typical BA feeling to it. You know it's a BA, but it's very tight, very controlled. It's got, I mean, it's really, I mean, like I said, only that ultimate low end grunt, that sub bass grunt is missing there, and on occasions, the thumpiness or that impact that it has is too cold. It's too clinical. But overall, it's a very good bass, very well executed, and that's where, for example, I was initially surprised. Was being neutral, I was going to think, or I was going to expect a very, dry sounding, not engaging in any way, and I found it plenty engaging. I didn't have any issues with to listen to any of the music that I listened to, and saying, oh wow, this is actually doing it well, because it does it well. That's the reality. The mids, as I said before, it's where it shines. I mean, instruments are an absolute treat to listen to. Everything that's an instrument, it just comes across so nicely, and I can therefore understand why a music engineer would like these IEMs for monitoring purposes. It's very they very rich in the timbre it's very rich in the timbre that it provides the instruments, and the tonality that it provides those instruments, and it's like I said, vocals and instruments. So the mid section is where this IEM really shines. As for technicalities, what can I say about technicalities? Well, soundstage, it's got decent height and width, but it's not very deep. Okay, and by having not too much depth, then the imaging suffers, because you can position things nicely, but you don't really, but you position them on a flat plane. You can't really position them with depth. Okay. As for detail retrieval, it's fine. It's okay. It's acceptable. It's got enough detail retrieval, I guess. But I think the fact that it lacks that little extra air up top maybe can hinder its ultimate detail retrieval capabilities. But overall, look, we mustn't forget, this is a 2BA that has been, in my opinion, very well tuned. And if what you are wanting is a very good IEM for monitoring purposes, definitely go for this. No hesitation. Okay. Having said that, and I again remind everyone that this is not supposed to be a V-shaped monster signature sounding IEM. The surprise that I had by listening to normal music with this was so pleasant that I have really no hesitations in recommending it as well, for those that don't want to do monitoring with him, but for those that want to listen to music with a more neutral kind of presentation. Definitely these will work wonders for you. Okay, this, I can actually say that this very much, although I'm not comparing it to that IEM because it just didn't make I could have done it, but I just didn't think it would make sense. This has got very much the kind of presentation that a P1 Max has from 10 HiFi. The P1 Max has been getting a little bit of hard love from some people, in the sense that, oh no, it's not as engaging as the 7Hz, oh no, it's not as engaging as the S12. Well, in my opinion, the P1 Max was not supposed, or was not designed to be that. The P1 Max was supposed to be a more neutral sounding planar, and it does it very well, and it's plenty engaging and plenty fun. If anything, as I mentioned in my review of the P1, it just needs a good bit of power. That's all. Anyway, that's the T2. As I said, there were a few IEMs that I could have compared it to, and of various, let's say, configurations, hybrids, and so on and so forth. But I decided to keep it to all BA, because that's just the way I thought it would make sense for me. And IEMs which had a very similar as well signature in that aspect. So the first one I compared it to was the Audiosense, the DT200. And those of you that see my review of the DT200 know that I praise it for its mids. Its mids are absolutely surreal. I think it's, in terms of mids, I think it's one of the best IEMs out there. Honestly, I really do. I think it's got amazing mids, really good channel presentation, It's just in the bass end that it lacks. The bass is there. It's got decent enough extension, decent enough punch, but it's very, very moderate. It's very laid back. So if you're listening to a low volume, okay, yes, it will be fine. Everything is balanced out and coherent the moment you actually start cranking up the volume, because the mids can take it, the highs can take it. The bass end, you straight away see that it starts struggling a little bit, and that's its downfall compared to the T2. It's also 2 BA driver IEM, but the T2, in my opinion, just completely I'm not going to say annihilate, because it's a big word, but it completely overpowers it. There's no comparison possible. The mids are on par with each other, okay, in terms of mids, so basically the same thing. In terms of highs, maybe a little bit tad more extension, yeah, but nothing that really is significantly that much, or that is, oh wow, there's a lot more highs, yeah, no. But in terms of bass, this completely, you can listen to some EDM on here and it's fun. You listen to EDM on here and no, it's not going to be fun. In terms of the technicalities and so on and so forth, again, I think that the T2 is a superior IEM, and I'm not going to say it breaks my heart, because but I really like the DT200. I really had the DT200 as like my reference, neutral sounding BA, set for monitoring and so on and so forth, and it's now been supplanted. The T2 is a better IEM. It makes more sense, not only because it plays better, but also because this is $119 and that's about $150. So there isn't much to justify that price jump. The other IEM that I compared it to, which I thought would make a little sense as well, is the DT300. It's bigger brother to the DT200, and this has a very similar configuration in terms of the BAs used: the 22955, 29689, and I believe a 30095 for the highs. So again, very simple BA hardware, but very, very surprising sound from the DT300 as well. And the DT300 is once again, or was once again, one of my go-to choices for an all BA set. This is around $170, $180, so slightly, well, not slightly, twice the price of the T2, and slightly more expensive than the DT200. And in my opinion, it just makes more sense to go for this than the DT200 straight off, right off the bat, just considering price-wise. And why? Well, because again, the DT300 was an IEM that was received with a little bit of a hard face. In stock format, without the adapter, the signature is relatively flat. Okay, so it's a signature which is relatively flat, very kind of monitoring focused, but it's just completely unengaging. There's just something there that just it doesn't sound right. It just sounds off somehow. Okay, the moment you put on the 30 ohm adapter, which I did, and I think a few other people that bought this IEM did, it completely changes it. Yes, it does make it a bit more of a V-shaped signature. Yes, it does focus on the sub bass, but what it does do as well is it makes the sub bass be over the mid bass, which completely changes the tonality and the timbre and the whole perception that you have of the vocals going forward. So if on stock, or well, if without the filter, the adapter, sorry, it can sound hollow in the mids, and it sounds off because of that. It just sounds wrong. With the adapter, which is a must in my opinion, it is a very nice sounding IEM. Very nice tonality, great extension up top, great mids. It is really very nice. Would I take it over the T2? Well, the fact that it costs so much more, and what it brings in terms of performance is not that big of a jump, I would probably say no. I would probably say that I would think the T2 would still make more sense because of the price that it has. especially when you can get it in promotion for like the $99, like you said, like I mentioned, sorry. It makes it a really killer option. Okay. Sound wise, yes, there is more sub bass here, which is lacking in the T2. In terms of the mid bass punch, there's a little bit more on the T2, so I guess that evens them out. Mid wise, they're both very good. Look, they're both very good. It's, you know, it's really a very difficult choice to make. I would say mid wise, they're very similar. This one perhaps, because it's not as neutral with the adapter, has got a nicer tonality. But this one, for the neutrality that it has, it's so engaging that I just can't say that it's wrong or inferior. No, they're just a little bit too different to say which one is the best or the better one. In terms of the highs, that's where then the DT300 then does surpass the T2. It does have that air that this one lacks, and yes, it will make female vocals come across not as dark as sometimes they come across here. So yes, in terms of highs, this one is a winner. Technicalities, it's one goes to one, another one goes to the other, so it's kind of a 50-50 situation here. So look, honestly, you can't really go wrong with either one of them. Either one has excellent build quality. Either one has an amazing sound for what they are. Good technicalities. You can't really go wrong. I think the determining factor here will be how much money you want to spend. This you can get for as low as 99. This is always around 100, and at the best I've seen it is 169. Okay, so it's always going to be a little bit more of money. Accessories wise as well, they both come very well equipped. So it's like I said, it's just down to how much money you have and what you want to spend, because you can't really go wrong with either one of them. This one, again, I'm not going to say it's an advantage, but the DT300 does have the fact that you can run it without the adapter and maybe be more neutral, and you could possibly do some monitoring. But in that configuration, the T2 actually just as a pure monitor, the T2 is amazing. Period. Let's just get and make that perfectly clear. As an earphone for monitoring purposes purely, this is a beast. In terms of being fun and engaging, this one will be slightly ahead of that, but it will depend very much on what you like listening to. So that's why I say, you can't really go wrong with either one of them, and it's just your budget that dictates the ultimate choice. Anyway, guys, I hope you like this little take of mine on the T2. If there's any questions or anything you want to ask me, as always, please feel free to ask. Any other comparisons that you would like me to maybe do, I have no issues with doing it. I'll do my best to answer and to do them as quickly as possible. And you already know, if you like, subscribe to the channel, helps me out. I want to get those views going. I want to get those followers going. It's good to know that my work is appreciated. So if you do like it, please let me know about it. And if you don't like it, let me know as well. Honestly, you know what? You learn from getting criticism. So please let me know. All right, take care. Bye bye.